You know how sometimes when you're given a task that is supposed to be easy, but it turns out to be super challenging for you, and maybe nobody else struggles with it? It can be seriously frustrating. I remember when I started taking singing lessons and my teacher told me to breathe with my diaphragm. It seems simple, right? It's supposed to be our natural way of breathing, but it's actually a lot harder to do, especially if you want to sing like the pros. It's kind of like when your boss walks into a meeting and tells you to think outside the box. Come on, give me your creative ideas. Think outside the box. I need innovation. It sounds easy, right? But in reality, it's pretty tough. You need to practice and figure out how to break out of the usual routine and comfort zone, even though we are used to living inside our metaphorical boxes. I've had these thoughts myself and decided to share my journey through them with you. I hope some of my experiences resonate with yours. The first thing to ask yourself is why? Why should you really step out of your comfort zone? It's cozy and safe inside our boxes where we agree with everyone else, but stepping out can feel risky because you might jeopardize our reputation that we've worked so hard to build. So why take that risk? Think about it. These days, we're all connected in a network, sharing information in real time. Ultimately, we all end up knowing the same things. But if we all have the same information, what sets us apart as individuals? And where does our human dignity come into play? It depends on what we do with our shared knowledge. Being creative and thinking outside the box isn't just a fun idea. It's essential for our dignity and personal growth. But here is the thing. Which box are we even talking about? To break free, we need to define that box clearly. It's not our mind. We cannot think out of our minds. It's a boundary within our minds. The boundary between what we know and what we haven't still or yet thought about. What is our mind? What is our knowledge structure? It's an emergent phenomenon out of the complex mechanism which is the brain. We start with initial conditions, our genetic heritage. We have boundary conditions, the environment. We have indirect experiences, years and years spent in schools, universities, to learn what other people have thought, what other people have discovered, and what other people have created. Then we have our own direct experience, our successes and failures. That really makes what we are. All of this builds the anthill within which we live, and we live very well in that. Whatever we think inside that anthill, that box, we feel safe. So how do we actually think outside the box? How do we step into the uncharted territory? We have a lot of ideas, which is our convergent information, the dominant ideas. Whenever we need to think about an area, a focused area, we have ideas on how things should be. We have requirements, we have specifications. We know how things are because that is the way they have always been. But if you want to go outside the box, we need to add that extra spice to our thoughts. Something which goes beyond the convergent information. Something wrong, something absurd, something which apparently is irrelevant, something which takes us far. Now, this is what we call divergent information. We need a little bit of that divergent information to cross the borders within our minds. From what we know to what we haven't yet thought about, where do you go once you're out of the box? You have no preset direction. It's really a potential situation that brings us to the feeling that we should immediately go back. This does not make any sense. Let's go back to our safe place. Let's go back inside the box. Now that's a temptation that we need to resist. We need to value long thinking. Normally, we talk about brilliant thinking, fast thinking, deep thinking, but here I'm talking about something different. Long thinking. What does that mean? It's some thought that takes us far. It's as if you were reading poetry or listening to music. You don't judge a single note. You don't judge a single word. It's the ensemble that gives you the feeling. It takes you far. You must do the same thing with our concept. We need to go far. We can use association of ideas, combination of ideas, extraction of principles, and application of those principles to areas where they were never applied before. We need to be open-minded. We need to be fluent. Look for alternatives and not for the correct answers, because when you think creatively, there is no single correct answer. There are many possible alternatives. This divergence of thought is essential for breaking free from our mental constraints and exploring new ideas that challenge the status quo. And when we do stumble upon a fresh idea, how do we value it? First of all, because we don't feel entitled to be inventors. Who am I to be the generator of that new idea? Probably this has been thought about before. If this is correct, someone would have done it before me. These are all natural mechanisms with which we kill our own ideas. We have to resist that. We have to look for the connection between the new ideas and our initial drive, our initial focus. When is it a good idea to challenge everybody around you in your working environment? Now you have a boss, you don't really want to upset him or her. When is it a good idea to think out of the box? First of all, if the environment punishes mistakes, you will never be really tempted to go out of your box. You would remain safely in the known environment. If you want to stimulate an environment which is creative, you need to allow the existence of divergent information. You need to allow irrelevant information to come in. You have to mix and match different disciplines. To wrap things up, let's try a quick experiment. Imagine brainstorming ideas about, let's say, creating a YouTube channel. We start with what we already know, like educational tutorials, how-to guides, product reviews and unboxing, travel vlogs and adventure stories, fitness and wellness channels. Then there is the unknown, like study with me sessions, interesting fact channels, quizzes and games, magic tricks and illusion channels, silent vlogs. Now, these out-of-the-box concepts might seem wild at first, but they could lead to innovative breakthroughs. So the next time you are stuck in your mental box, remember to embrace new perspectives, think creatively, and challenge the status quo. It might just lead you to incredible discoveries and fresh insight. These are just examples to show you that it's possible and not too hard, actually, to think out of the box. I hope this journey, in a way, was interesting for you, and now you want to do more of that.